Elon Musk, one of the most ambitious entrepreneurs in history. From revolutionizing electric vehicles to launching rockets into space, everything he touches seems to become a multi-billion-dollar empire. But behind the scenes, there's one engineer who turned Musk's wildest dreams into reality. A logger's son from Idaho who built rocket engines in his garage and became the first technical employee of SpaceX. That person is Tom Mueller, better known in aerospace circles as the godfather of modern rocket propulsion. Mueller's job wasn't just to design engines. He had to take an impossible vision, building affordable, reusable rockets when the entire aerospace industry said it couldn't be done. From developing the Merlin engine that powers every SpaceX rocket, to preventing the company from going bankrupt after 3 catastrophic failures, Mueller proved to be more than just Musk's chief engineer. He became the technical genius who made SpaceX possible. While some believe Mueller deserves more credit for SpaceX's success, others think Musk's vision was the real driving force. But what's the real story? Tom Mueller grew up in St. Maries, Idaho, the son of a logger who expected him to follow in his footsteps. As a kid, Mueller wasn't like the other children playing in the woods. He was in the local library reading books, watching Star Trek, and dreaming about space. He built model rockets and even experimented with high-pressure systems, like a model he created using his father's oxyacetylene welder. His story mirrors that of Homer Hickam from October Sky, a coal miner's son who became a NASA engineer. Except for Mueller, it was logging instead of mining. Everything changed when a high school math teacher asked him a simple question: do you want to be the guy who fixes the plane or the guy who designs it? He decided to study engineering and worked 4 summers as a logger to pay his way through the University of Idaho, where he earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering in 1985. He later got his master's degree from Loyola Marymount University in 1992. For 15 years, Mueller worked at TRW Inc., a massive aerospace and automotive corporation. He managed the propulsion and combustion products department and worked on the TR-106 engine, a powerful 650,000-pound thrust hydrogen engine designed in 2000. The TR-106 used something called pintle injectors, which allowed fuel and oxidizer to mix at a single point, vastly simplifying rocket engine design. This technology would later become crucial to SpaceX's success. But Mueller felt stuck at TRW. His ideas were getting lost in a massive corporate structure, so he did what any rocket enthusiast would do. He started building his own engines as a hobby. Mueller joined the Reaction Research Society, an amateur experimental rocket group where he designed engines in his garage and tested them in the Mojave Desert. By late 2001, Mueller was working on something extraordinary. He moved his project from his garage to a friend's warehouse and built the largest amateur liquid fuel rocket engine ever created, weighing 80 pounds and producing 13,000 pounds of thrust. In January 2002, everything changed. Elon Musk, fresh off selling PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion, walked into that warehouse. Musk was searching for engineers to help him start a space company. He wanted to make rockets affordable enough to eventually colonize Mars, a dream that the entire aerospace industry thought was insane. When Musk saw Mueller's homemade rocket engine, he asked one simple question: can you build something bigger? Mueller never fired that engine. Instead, he took it back to his garage, where it still sits to this day. Because Musk made Mueller an offer he couldn't refuse. Mueller later recalled that when he met Musk, the rocket engine was key frontline technology for what would become SpaceX. But it was more than just the technology. Musk's business plan, his clear long-term vision of making humanity a multi-planetary species, and his capital to actually execute the plan, all of it resonated with Mueller. Plus, others had tried to recruit Mueller before without success, but Musk was different. Musk told Mueller and another prospective employee, Chris Thompson, that if you guys join, we'll start the company. So in mid-2002, Mueller became a founding engineer at SpaceX, making him one of the company's first hires. He joined the company's payroll soon after Chris Thompson and was the first engineer, even though Musk himself was the founder and CEO. Mueller went from being a small fish in a huge corporate pond at TRW to being the king of propulsion at a scrappy startup that most people thought would fail. At SpaceX, Mueller got to do what he'd always dreamed of: focus entirely on rocket engineering. Musk gave Mueller and his team an enormous challenge: design engines that could power affordable, reusable rockets. The aerospace industry had been building expendable rockets for decades, throwing away millions of dollars worth of hardware after every single launch. Musk and Mueller wanted to change that completely. Mueller led the development of the Merlin engine, and his experience with pintle injectors from the TR-106 at TRW became the foundation of the design. The Merlin used liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene, and its brilliantly simple design made it cheap to manufacture and incredibly reliable. One of Mueller's most important innovations was making the engine deeply and rapidly throttleable, meaning it could reduce its thrust significantly and quickly. This capability would later become essential for landing and reusing rockets, something nobody had ever successfully done before. But designing the engine was just the beginning. The real test came during development. In October 2003, Mueller and his engineers sat in the SpaceX control bunker in Texas and fired up a Merlin on the test stand for a 60-second burn. Disaster struck. The exhaust began melting the metal in the engine's throat, and the heat endangered critical seals that controlled propellant flow. If the engine had run any longer, it would have exploded. It took months of grueling work to solve these problems, but Mueller's team refused to give up. By 2006, SpaceX was ready to launch its first rocket, the Falcon 1, powered by a single Merlin engine. The rocket stood 68 feet tall and was designed to prove that a private company could reach orbit. But space is hard, and SpaceX was about to learn that lesson the Brule way. The first launch, on March 24, 2006, ended in a massive explosion within the first minute. A corroded nut caused a fuel line leak and fire. About a year later, in March 2007, they tried again. This time, the rocket almost made it. The Falcon 1 reached nearly 180 miles above Earth, and it was close to orbital velocity when fuel sloshing in the second stage caused roll control issues. The engine shut down prematurely, and the rocket fell back to Earth. Musk had publicly stated that his $100 million personal investment would get them 3 tries, and if they couldn't succeed by the third flight, maybe they should admit defeat. The pressure was enormous. Defense contractors were lobbying against SpaceX in Washington, trying to paint them as too risky and inexperienced. Musk was simultaneously running Tesla and SolarCity, both of which were also on the verge of bankruptcy. He later said he was waking from nightmares, screaming and in physical pain because of the stress. On August 3, 2008, SpaceX launched its third attempt. Mueller and his team had redesigned the engine systems, making them even more efficient and powerful than projected. The first stage performed perfectly, but then came the separation. When the first and second stage tried to separate, there was still a little residual thrust in the first stage engine. The first stage literally rear-ended the second stage, destroying the rocket. After the failure, Musk walked past the press and addressed the company first. An early SpaceX employee later recalled that Musk listed the countries that had failed to even successfully execute a first-stage flight, something SpaceX had just accomplished,
Musk revealed that he had secured a major investment from Draper Fisher Jurvetson, giving SpaceX enough funding for 2 more attempts. He told the team, "We need to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off because we have a lot of work to do." Then Musk said something that would define SpaceX's culture forever. "For my part, I will never give up, and I mean never." Less than 2 months later, on September 28, 2008, everything changed. Mueller, Musk, and the entire SpaceX team gathered at their Hawthorne headquarters, watching a video feed from Kwajalein Atoll in the South Pacific. The Falcon 1 roared off the launch pad. The first stage performed its burn. Then it separated cleanly from the second stage. This time, they had increased the time between first stage burnout and separation to let any residual thrust dissipate. It worked. The second stage engine fired perfectly, boosting the rocket into space. The fairings at the tip separated and fell away. Less than 10 minutes after liftoff, traveling at orbital velocity of over 17,500 miles per hour and 81 miles above Earth, the Falcon released its dummy payload, nicknamed RatSat. Musk and Mueller had just created the first privately developed liquid fuel rocket to reach orbit. SpaceX had joined an elite club previously limited to only 6 nations in human history. The relief was overwhelming. Musk later admitted that if that 4th launch had failed, SpaceX would have been bankrupt. He had split his last $30 million between SpaceX and Tesla. But the success turned everything around. Just months later, in December 2008, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion commercial resupply services contract, financially saving the company. After the Falcon 1's success, Mueller and his team went to work on something much bigger, the Falcon 9. Instead of 1 Merlin engine, the Falcon 9 would have 9, producing over 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The rocket would be designed for reusability from the start, incorporating the deep throttling capability Mueller had built into the Merlin engine. Mueller led the development of multiple engine variants, the Merlin 1C, the Merlin 1D, and vacuum-optimized versions for the upper stage. He also developed the Draco thrusters for the Dragon spacecraft and the Super Draco engines that power the capsule's launch escape system. Every engine Mueller's team created was designed with the same philosophy: simple, reliable, and cost-effective. The Merlin 1D, which entered service in 2013, revolutionized spaceflight. Mueller proudly called it a world-class engine that was very easy to make, very low cost, and extremely reliable. But most importantly, the rapid and deep throttling he had designed into it enabled the recovery of rocket boosters, which was proven with the first successful landing in 2015. This innovation turned SpaceX's vision of reusable rockets from a dream into reality. By 2018, SpaceX launched the Falcon Heavy, essentially 3 Falcon 9 boosters strapped together with 27 Merlin engines, generating massive thrust. Mueller later said watching that first Falcon Heavy launch in February 2018 was one of his proudest moments. It proved that everything they had worked toward, making affordable, powerful, reusable rockets, was not only possible, but commercially successful. Despite all his contributions, Mueller never sought the spotlight. While Musk became one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the world, Mueller worked quietly in the background, letting the engines do the talking. In 2014, Mueller transitioned from Vice President of Propulsion Engineering to Chief Technology Officer of Propulsion, focusing on the next generation of engines, including the methane-powered Raptor that would eventually power Starship. Mueller helped architect the Starship vehicle itself. When Musk asked him what it would take to get 100 tons to Mars, Mueller was the one who changed the fuel from hydrogen to methane because it offered the lowest cost per ton to Mars and back. His technical expertise continued shaping SpaceX's Mars ambitions, even as the company grew to thousands of employees. By January 2019, Mueller moved into a part-time senior advisor role. On November 30th, 2020, he officially retired from SpaceX after nearly 2 decades with the company. Today, Mueller runs his own company, Impulse Space, founded in 2021. The company develops space tugs for moving satellites in orbit and is even working on planetary landers to deliver payloads to Mars. Once again, Mueller became employee number 1 of his own startup. But his legacy at SpaceX is undeniable. The Merlin engine he designed still powers every Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy launch. As of 2025, these engines have flown over 400 missions, making them one of the most reliable rocket engines ever built. Musk may be the face of SpaceX, but Mueller was the engineer who made the rockets fly. While Musk provided the vision, funding, and willingness to take enormous risks, Mueller provided the technical expertise and hands-on engineering brilliance that turned those visions into functioning hardware. Together, they didn't just build a company, they changed the entire aerospace industry and proved that private companies could compete with governments in space exploration. At the end of the day, Elon Musk might be unstoppable, but it was Tom Mueller who built the engines that got him there. And that's the real story behind SpaceX's rise to dominance.